Another tip that will increase your personal statement better than everyone else's is using. I see some students go to the other extreme. They literally say, if you want to get to the top universities, you need to definitely show them that you are at. This is part 3 of 3 videos. So if you haven't watched the first 2 videos, do go and watch them right now. Okay, so this is my personal statement, and if you have a look at this, now I obviously understand a lot more than I used to understand when I first wrote this, having seen a lot more students' personal statements, having gone through and spoken with admissions tutors, etc. This first sentence, for example, isn't the most personal, isn't the most eye-catching, but the saving grace that it has, it's that it's short and succinct. It's to the point. I'm not waffling. It's not a 10-hour long sentence. It's just to the point. So I guess that's the saving grace. I could potentially make this a bit more personal. As I look around, I observe numerous objects that were either designed or have been influenced by engineers, from how a basic cricket ball swings to the largest particle accelerator in the world, the Large Hadron Collider. So this was quite a big thing back then. Well, it was quite a relatively new thing in the world of physics and engineering, and not many A-level students would know about this unless they've got a genuine interest in this. Another point that I want to make here is about this cricket ball swinging. This is actually linked in. So remember I mentioned that there needs to be a thread between the different paragraphs. This actually links in to a point that I'm going to make later on about cricket. And so all of my personal statement is somehow linked together with a tiny thread, and that is what makes good writing. It needs to be coherent, and it also needs to flow from top to bottom with a nice link. So don't be afraid to move around your paragraphs if they don't feel like they're in the right place. This fills me with a desire to build a career in the creative yet ingenious industry of engineering. All right, so what have I done here? I've given some personal examples about what I've been observing in and around myself. I've kind of gone straight to the point and mentioned that, this is what I want to do, this is what I like, and boom, done. No faffing about here, and it's all done. Let's look at the next paragraph and see why this is good or maybe not so good. Right. There are many factors that have promoted my choice of pursuing a career in engineering. I'm making a new point in this paragraph. Since childhood, I have been fascinated by mechanisms. Again, short and sweet. I am getting to the point. I am not waffling and I'm saying, oh, since childhood I did this, I did that. I've broken my sentence up into the next one, really to explain what's happening, to give that detail. I'm not just listening, I'm going to give some detail. My fascination has not faded over the years. Instead, it has been nurtured by the environment that I inhabit. Recently, I undertook an open university course. So I'm being very specific what I did. Engineering the future. So I'm showing them that I've got dedication. This is not an A-level course. This is beyond A-level. I'm showing them I've got interest. I really want to do this. It was through this experience that I enhanced my interest in physics and the application of mathematics to real world scenarios and what the future holds for us all. So you can see a theme building here already in the first 2 paragraphs. I am referring a lot to the physical world around me. This is showing them that I'm a curious and intellectual thinker who has a lot of curiosity, who has lots of questions. This is something that they can't teach you. They can always teach you engineering, they can always teach you law or anything. What they can't teach you is how to think. That is something you've definitely got to show them. You can have flaws in your work experience, you can have flaws in your grades, but what you cannot have flaws in is how you think. If you want to get to the top universities, you need to definitely show them that you are a great thinker. You think about problems. Now moving on, I find maths and logic linked together beautifully, and I like to relay this to everyday situations in my life, such as chess, where constant recalculations are required in the short-term and long-term strategy of the game. Side point, if you guys fancy a game against me for chess, drop me a comment. The next paragraph, what I do here is I talk about maths and I talk about chess. So 2 things. I am referencing my subjects that I've studied at A-level because I literally didn't have much else to talk about. I didn't really read that many books for engineering at this point. And so I'm really relying on my A-level subjects. And this is why I see these days a lot of students don't really talk about them. But don't be afraid to do so. It's absolutely fine. And then I use something like chess. You might think, what on earth has chess got to do with it? But the way I've linked it in about calculations and the maths behind it, that shows that I'm a thinker again. Again, it's showing that I'm a thinker. It is personal to me. It is not some random example. This enables one to analyze the position, possible combinations, anticipation of opponent's next move. I believe logic and mathematics are firm roots from which engineering stems. So I've even stated for them what I'm talking about. The point is that this is really clear. So as opposed to the previous personal statements that we were looking at, the points here are simple, clear. I'm not using no fancy big words. Maybe you can say nurtured, mechanism. I mean, they're not really big words that make people cry. And I can use big words, but the point is you want to simplify it down as much as possible. You want to explain complex concepts in really, really simple words. My decision to read engineering was strengthened while completing a week-long trip to Istanbul in the Easter holidays. Here I experienced engineering on a personal level as I was invited by the chief engineer to view an innovative engineering project of the refurbishment of the Suleymaniye Mosque in Istanbul. I was authorized to see the construction of the 4 minarets. So I'm giving very specific points here. I am being very specific and making my points over here.
The jobs of the workmen were very but demanded novel ways of thinking.
I am being very specific what's happened and now what I'm going to learn from this.
In particular, I enjoyed seeing the structural engineer's problem solving skills, which he had to solve the problem of holding the shaft and a gallery firm against the elements to prolong the life of the structure. The engineer devised several plans, including considering an exoskeleton which was made out of steel to support the concrete structure. Unfortunately, I did not see the project through to completion. Nevertheless, the concept of consolidating the ideas and delegating tasks to different members was
nothing but inspirational to me. Here, many students may consider this a flaw. You might say, oh, you actually don't know what actually happened. You didn't actually complete it. So that's actually quite bad. Well, no, I've used it as my advantage. I've used it as a fact to show that, look, I'm not perfect. I have flaws, and that's fine. Well, I see some students go to the other extreme. They literally say, I am not perfect. Okay, you don't want to do that. It's all about showing, not telling. Here's my really tiny part, which refers to my extracurricular. I enjoy a variety of sports, representing Assamana Cricket Club in the Birmingham League, as well as being selected for trials to play for Sussex County. So as a member of the College Shura Islamic Society, I frequently organise events and talks at my college, which has involved interacting with lecturers in addition to arranging. This has taught me to value the significance of teamwork, as often we would initiate the task individually with some success, but when tackling this as a unit, we were able to work to each of the strengths and complete the jobs professionally. So look, I mentioned the example, I mentioned what I've done. Each paragraph is got its own points. And finally, I'll give a solid conclusion. Okay, I believe life as an undergraduate student is an ideal platform upon which to continue to develop and add to my academic career. So I'm already showing them that I already have a strong interest in this, and all you're going to be providing me is building on top of what I already have. Practicing an engineering degree is the most natural way forward, as it suits both my interests and it allows me to be at the forefront of engineering research. So again, referring back to that curiosity that I have been trying to show as a thread throughout this. What you guys can do is you can go on something called the Student Room. If you're not familiar with, Student Room has personal statements, for examples from the top universities. So for example, if I type in Cambridge University personal statements, you'll be able to see personal statements for lots of different subjects. So if we go to computer science, personal statement for Cambridge, and you can get an idea of what makes a good university personal statement, and you can also see if they got offers or not. I use this a lot when I was devising up my personal statement. Read other people's personal statements so you get an idea. No one, and I repeat this point again, none of the authors ever really come up with their own individual brilliant pieces of work. The more variation you have in the type of people that look at it, the better your feedback and analysis would be. Feel free to sign up to our course. The link will be down below, and you will get unlimited revisions on your personal statement and have that confidence that your personal statement will be the top 10 personal statements that your admissions tutor will see. So yeah, if you feel like you want that confidence going into your application process, then please do sign up. Some other things that you can also think about, again, you won't hear these anywhere else, which is print out. Your brain will perceive things in a different manner as opposed to when it's on a computer. So you're likely to spot more errors. Don't worry about the word count to begin with. Write down all your best sentences, all your best paragraph phrases, anything that you think is important, write it all down. I see too often students are trying to make the word count right from the beginning. That is the wrong approach to take. You want to put down all your best ideas and then you look at it and say, okay, what can I do to get it down to the relevant character limit? Another tip that will increase your personal statement by that little bit, tiny 0.05% better than everyone else's, is using positive wording where you can. So you leave that subliminal message within the reader's mind that you are a top and happy and exciting student that they really want to take on board. No humor. This isn't a comedy club. Don't lie, don't boast, don't use cliches. Quotations are fine within the purview that you're actually going to discuss them and they are relevant to you. It's a personal statement. So be careful in using quotes.